The people that were around me that were having success were no different than me. They just woke up one day and said, I'm going to do this and I'm going to stop making excuses.
There's nothing more powerful than you changing people's lives.
Recruiting and sales and communication is just a part of life.
You have to be really careful with what you listen to and what you consume online.
You think that I'm smarter than you and you think that I'm better than you, but I'm not. I just didn't quit, and that's why I'm still here.
What got you to this level is not going to get you to the next level. You graduated what, like?
I graduated 2012,
yeah,
and then I graduated Florida State 2016.
Right.
Where did you go?
I didn't go to school.
Okay then, so what's for?
I don't like Florida State people, and it's not even a Miami thing.
What did they do to you? What did they do to you?
They're obnoxiously. You know what? Never mind.
No, you're generalizing because you've never even been there, have you?
I have been actually, and I am generalizing just like we generalize right now about Hispanics. I mean,
fair enough.
Yeah.
My college experience was beautiful. So.
I would imagine maybe I'm even low key a hater because I didn't go to school. Yeah.
But
But I could admit that.
No, I mean it was a unique. I hated it when I first got there. I hated it with all my heart, and then it was either I moved back or I stayed there, but I had a full ride. So my parents were like, "Suck it up," and then I ended up loving it.
Full ride for academics, sports.
No, not sport. I wish. No, it was all merit based, and then I was kind of like a nerd in school, so I would apply for scholarships, and then I just didn't want to pay for it. My parents were going to pay for it, so I had to figure out a way to get there for free.
Awesome. I love when this happens because I don't have to actually introduce you on the podcast because we just start talking. But on that same topic, Karla, we'll just keep it rolling. What we do here at The Blueprint is we like to take entrepreneurs as yourself who have good stories, who have had a good amount of success, just basically have you walk us through your journey beginning to end, how you got into the point where you are and where you're going to go next. It's pretty much what we're looking to find out here. So that being said, I know you went to Coral Reef, you just mentioned it. Walk me through your upbringing real quick, and then we'll get into your professional journey. Born, raised.
Upbringing. I was raised in Miami. I've been living in Miami since I was 6.
Nice.
So 20 plus years. I was not born here, contrary to and I'm not Colombian or any one of those other. You'll never guess where I'm from.
I'm not even gonna take a walk. You never guess where I'm from.
Fair enough. I'm from Honduras.
Oh, I'm from Panama. So.
Okay, see, we're different.
I know how you feel. I know exactly how you feel.
Yes.
You're not Cuban. What do you mean? I'm like.
Yes, not everyone in Miami is Cuban. There's people from all over the world, and we're all bright individuals who are here to strive and move forward.
Absolutely.
So that's where I was born. I moved here, was raised here. It's interesting when I talk about my story because it's like people look at me and they're like, "Oh, you're successful. You speak English. Like you were born here." I was like, "No, I'm an immigrant like you. I had to learn English. I had to learn everything. I remember getting here. Everything felt strange.
Yep.
I felt strange. And as the years went on, I just kind of immersed myself. And school was one of my outlets.
Nice.
I was just like, I don't know how to speak English. What do? I started reading books. I started writing. And I never wanted to hang around with the Spanish kids.
Really?
Because I knew I was never going to learn English and I was never going to move forward. Because what was I going to do?
You knew that at that age?
I knew that, yeah.
That's interesting.
So I would hang out with the other groups and I was like, no, you guys are bye.
I totally know the feeling, Karla. I was born here, but I moved back to Panama when I was 6, actually. So I was backwards. Same feeling backwards, by the way. Going to another country at that age, it's tough. But then I came back when I was 12. So it's actually really fucked up because I got used to, I didn't want to leave and I left. I got used to living over there. And I didn't live in the city of Panama. I lived in the country, rural, there's we had shoes, but kids run around barefoot and shit. It's what you see in the movies. And then my parents picked up and came back. So I came when I was 12 and I went through the whole ESOL class. I know what it is to be, even though I was born here, obviously I come from a family of immigrants. I basically was an immigrant myself because I had to go through the entire shabam. So I know exactly what you mean. And I know how tough that is, but believe it or not, it makes kids resilient. It does, because it made me resilient. It made my sister resilient. Obviously, has worked with you. But okay, so you came when you were 6, had to learn English. You started associating with, at that age already, having a good idea of picking your friends, you want to say?
Yeah, so my rule of thumb was that I never wanted to go to my home school.
Okay.
So when I got into middle school, I figured out there was something called magnet programs, and I would start applying. And I was like, okay, as long as I get into a school that's not my home school, I'm going to meet new people and I'm going to learn new things. And I did that all the way to college. I did the same thing in high school and I did the same thing in college. I chose the furthest college in Florida from Miami. So I always put myself in very uncomfortable situations where I knew nobody, so it would push me and I would never stay complacent.
That's awesome. And we were just talking about your college experience. So you went to Florida State.
I went to Florida State. Go Noles.
Yeah, okay.
Go Noles.
Talk to me. You said it was based on merit, so based on your grades, I would imagine. You got a scholarship for
I was not a straight A student, but I was good enough to get by. So
good for you. And what were those 4 years like? Walk me through that.
I hated it when I got there. Okay. So being an immigrant, getting these opportunities, right? It's like, I feel like a lot of people now take a lot of things for granted. It's a younger generation.
Right.
But I was like, okay, my parents, they made the sacrifice. We've gone through all this. Like, I need to go to college. And I knew that they wanted me to go to college, but I also have a brother. So it was one of those, like, I was like, well, I'm not going to leave it in their hands. So I would apply for scholarships. I got a bunch of scholarships, got my entire college paid for. And I had to choose. But I never, you know how people go to the college tours? Right. I never visited one college. Okay. And it was like the week that all the deadlines were coming up and I had to choose. And I don't know why I chose Florida State, but I did. Nice. Oh, because they were offering me more money. That's why.
Okay. And I mean, you had to have known it was probably a good party school to go to.
I didn't know any of that because really? I didn't party. I didn't drink. I was like an angel pretty much
so
until my last year.
Generally a money-based decision.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I got there and I hated it because I grew up here in Miami and I remember showing up there and I was like, what the hell is this?
You're in the boondocks.
There was nothing. Yeah. When I got there in 2012, there was nothing. It was cold. Everybody was weird. Like, I was like, exactly what you mean. I was like, Dorothy, you're not in Kansas anymore. And I hated it. In my first semester, I was homesick as hell. I would come home every weekend.
Really?
I'm not even kidding.
Busting that drive?
Every weekend.
Oh, man.
I didn't care. I was so sick. I was like, I don't want to be here. But it was... And I remember getting on the phone with my parents. I was failing algebra, and I was like, I hate it here. I'm leaving. And they're like, no, you're not. Just calm down. And they talked me through it, and I was like, fine. Just give it one more chance. If you hate it, you come back. I'm like, cool. The following semester, I never went home for 3 years.
Wow. You ended up getting used to it.
I would travel to Atlanta, to New Orleans. I got jobs. I joined a social club. So it's like, now I started to feel like that was my home.
Got it. And you made it, Jackie, you made it at home. And what you study? What was your major?
I went to school for English.
Really?
I wanted to be a journalist.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
I'm a writer by trade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But I don't want to be a struggling writer who was broke, so I didn't pursue it.
Well, I mean, if you're making decisions based on money before college, you're probably going to do the same afterwards. Yeah. Doesn't mean that you can follow your passion. You just got to find a different way to implement it.
That's true. I need to start writing again. I say that all the time. I'm pretty good at it, but it's just now with business and everything, it's kind of tough.
You know what I started doing recently?
What?
So I was always a good writer growing up. Like you had FCAS when you were in school. Mm-hmm. I would ace anything. I was terrible at reading comprehension. Everything else was good. I was good at numbers and good at writing, but I don't have time to write either. And I have a business coach and we talk a lot about outlets, and she's more like my therapist at this point. So I just started making a video of myself every night when I go home, talking about my day. It's literally journaling. It's weird, but it works.
Yeah.
And it's a way to do it where it doesn't involve me having to sit down pen to paper, like segregating the time, because I tried doing that and never worked. So a tip might work for you if you're looking for an outlet.
So who watches them? You?
Nobody. I just put them in a folder and they're there and for me to go back to them if I need to. But I feel like I'm getting it off my chest, basically, because that's the whole point of journaling.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily writing per se from an English standpoint, but it's a point of putting thoughts to paper. So
I never thought about that.
Yeah. And like the same video you probably make one day talking about something to tell your clients. I do that, but I just put it in a folder on my phone.
I think I'm going to try it.
Yeah. It's actually really weird. I do it while I'm driving home, so...
But I do like to write, though. Like, I do write. Like, I like it. So I don't know. I need to stop making excuses. That's what it is.
Now, like I told you earlier, I stalked you a little bit to get some information on you, and I saw somewhere that you were in education.
Yeah. Yes, I used to be a school teacher.
So you finished school. Walk me through that.
I finished school, and as soon as I graduated and I came back home, I realized that I got scammed. Because, everybody paints a pretty picture.
State?
No, Florida State did not scam me. Okay, it was actually free. I didn't pay anything. I felt like
you're for your time.
Not even. No, because you can't regret things. You everything that happens in life is a lesson, right?
Absolutely.
But nobody tells you what the transition is like after college. And it's a very difficult transition. And a lot of people, when I experienced it, you almost feel like a failure. You're like, okay, I did everything that I was supposed to do. I went to school. I got my degree. Now what? And nobody tells you what to do next. They just tell you apply for jobs. But nobody wants to hire you because you just got out of college and you don't have any experience. And then you do get hired and they don't want to pay you anything. So it's like...
vicious cycle. I talk about that all the time. How are you supposed to get experience when nobody hires you? Exactly. When nobody hires you because you have no experience. And I think you just hit it on the head. Problem with college is that education is good. You should get educated.
I agree.
And I think there's even big value to finishing what you start. Like if I could go back, I don't think I would go to school. But for example, I have a son, 4-year-old, and I was a little against prepaid college in the beginning. Even though my wife, who's now a retired teacher as well, she was a teacher and she quit, had prepaid school. So I was able to see what it did for her because she was able to go to school with no problems, without the financial stress. But then, I'm like, you know what, bro? If he wants to go to school, one, he should have the choice. Mm-hmm. Two, there is a lot of value in finishing where you start, and the education that you get there is not what's going to get you really far in life, but you'll learn.
Yeah.
And the problem is, they don't put you on how you're supposed to do things in life. So you leave there with a really bad idea of how the world works.
Or no idea.
Yeah, well, actually, even worse. and reality strikes and strikes fast. I was a store manager when I was 22 years old for Sprint, and before they got bought out by T-Mobile, and that's my background. I come from telecom.
Sales.
Yeah, and 22 is right around the age where people start graduating college. Mm-hmm. I became a store manager, making at that time probably $80,000 a year, and all my college graduate friends were asking me for jobs, entry-level jobs. So the same 4 years they spent in school, I spent getting ahead, and honestly naively, because it wasn't really like I wasn't as detailed as you with like my plans. Like I need to do this, to do this. I was just kind of going with the flow. I got a job in sales. I'm like, okay, I'm good at this. And then I got a commission check for $3,500 when I was 18, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to school ever again.
Like, yes.
Oh no, that's the thing I told my mom. I'm leaving school because I make more money than you. Because you're Hispanic, so for sure your parents wanted you to go to school. I would bet anything.
Yeah, of course.
I went to college for 2 semesters in Miami-Dade because my mom made me. There was no other reason why I was in school until I got the commission check, and that was it. But I ended up hiring a lot of my friends who were college graduates who had no idea what to do with their degree, and a lot of them did not have scholarships, so they had a bunch of student loans, which you're probably all familiar with, given the line of business you're in now.
Very familiar. Yeah. And I'm proud to say that I have no student loans because school was fully paid for. So I had no excuse not to go. I just wish I would have had better guidance as to what happens after,
So how did that lead to you becoming a teacher?
So I get out of school, 6 months go by. I'm like, all right, sis needs a job. So before that, I had to start working at Starbucks. And so I remember training to be a barista and going through all this. And I'm just like, what am I doing with my life? But the bills don't wait. Right. So I was like, screw it. One of my friends at the time, she helped me get a job. So I was a barista at Starbucks for 9 months. Nice. And then another friend of mine said, hey, they're hiring at the school. They're hiring English teachers. You're an English major. I'm like, I don't have any experience teaching. She's like, it doesn't matter. You have an English degree. They'll hire you.
There's a lack of teachers. They need them.
I was like, okay. I had no clue what I was getting into. I show up at the interview. One of the assistant principals went to Florida State. I got the job, of course. It helps.
Yeah, you guys are a community.
And I started doing adult education, which I absolutely loved adult education. Really? Teaching English can be a challenge, especially in South Florida, because you do have a lot of immigrants who have a hard time with understanding and whatnot. But I feel like my adult students were more appreciative than my younger students, because then I got into 8th grade. I did some high school as well. And my adult students adored, they were like, oh my God, profe.
Really?
Profe.
And what were you teaching them? English?
English. Nice. ESOL. They were ESOL adult students.
Well, adult like
our parents'
like
age.
in night school? Or
yes. Like I had a morning class and I had a night class, and they were so appreciative.
Nice.
And I'm someone that no matter what I do, I give it my all. I pour my heart into you. And they were like, wow, like no one's ever really taught us like this. Of course, I don't know how many of them actually learned, but my rule was like, when you walk into my class, I don't want to hear any Spanish or get out.
And that's what they need, really. So.
Yes, because they're like in their other classes, they would just speak Spanish, So I love them. That was great. Then my principals there knew that I was looking for a full-time job. Like I have a degree, like, I know what I'm doing. So they ended up finding me a position at a middle school, 8th grade middle school, English. So they're like, do you want it? I was like, yeah. They're like, but you're not leaving us, right? I'm like, nope. So at this point, I'm working my part-time English job, which is night school.
Yeah.
And then I'm teaching a full-time job, 8th grade English teacher. And I did that for 9 months before I felt like I was going to die.
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
It was very stressful.
And the stress of being a teacher, too, because I know very well about it firsthand. Yeah.
I was like 23. I wouldn't eat. I would go to bed late grading papers. I would wake up early because I had to drive to the school. I would have maybe 2 or 3 hours in between both jobs. I would get home at 10 o'clock at night, and I repeated that for months. And it was terrible. Like I I'm not, people go through different situations in life, mental health, whatever.
Right.
And I think because I was so busy and I was going through so much, I didn't realize it, but I think I was depressed because it was just working. And then on the weekends, I just wanted to sleep. I didn't want to talk to anyone.
I don't do anything.
It was very heavy, like dealing with 8th grade students who unfortunately don't come from the best upbringings.
Right.
So now I'm not only their teacher, I'm their therapist, I'm their mother.
It's a lot to take on.
This happened at home. My mom did, and it was a lot. And I was 23.
Yeah, you're not ready. A 23-year-old shouldn't have to deal with that in the first place. But
I did. I mean, and I handled it like a G. But by the time that I was reaching the end of the year, I was like, I'm gonna die.
Yeah. So you didn't go back for a second school year?
No. But you want to know the real reason why I quit? Because I didn't want to. It hurt me because I loved my students. I loved what I did, but I started analyzing everybody in my workplace, and I started noticing a pattern. People were always calling out. People were quitting. People were getting sick, like from stress, like in and out of the hospital. My other teachers and I was like, this is not normal.
Not the life you want.
Yeah, I was like, and I would ask them, why are you here? Oh, it pays the bills. Why are you? And like nobody had any drive. Nobody had any. And I saw myself dying. Like, not just physically from the exhaustion, but like my dreams and everything. And I was like, I don't care that I got a paycheck. I got to get out before I die and it's too late.
Before you become that. Yeah, for sure.
So that's why I left.
All right. Okay, but that's easier said than done. Did you leave with a plan or did you just
Nope. I was like, well, I'm a teacher now. I can say I taught at this school, that school. I'm going to start my own tutoring company. And that was actually my first company.
Yeah.
I used to work for a school and they taught me how to help students with their parents apply for scholarships. So I figured out a way to have my students apply for scholarships. I became a vendor with the state of Florida, and I would have the state of Florida pay me for tutoring.
Nice.
And I started growing, and it started growing faster than I expected, and I had no business being in a business.
Right.
I was definitely overpaying my tutors. Right. And it just got to a point where I'm like, all right, I don't know what I'm doing. It was growing too fast, and and then I got into insurance.
Okay, that's 2016. Yeah, adds up with the age. Yeah.
And then I got into insurance.
So you taught. Well, you were a barista. What you did or not, I feel like that's a great foundation for. I don't know if that was your first job
Starbucks?
or not, but it's a great foundation.
I've been working since I was 16,
Okay,
but they're a very intense company. It's true what you're saying.
Yeah,
like you got to be on point.
And when I worked in corporate America, we modeled Starbucks and Chick-fil-A as like the main companies for customer service. Mm-hmm. Like they do study. Other companies study what Starbucks and.
They have a great system.
Yeah, they're good. You went from there, insurance. You bounced around. I'm assuming I know you did some network marketing.
I did network marketing for 10 years. I started.
So let's talk about that because I think that's where you really like developed into. Because it seems like since you were 6, you kind of you were on point. But at some point, you got to showcase your skills, and I think network marketing for sure brings it out of you. So why, how, first and foremost, did you get into network marketing? And then walk us through that journey.
So it's funny. How does anyone get into network marketing? One of your friends or somebody new calls you and say, hey, what are you doing tomorrow at 7 p.m.? Okay. I'm laughing because that's the typical
100%.
Skit.
You go to a meeting?
Yeah. So I was in college, and one of my friends from Miami, I think they had just joined a company, and but I'm a hustler, so I was like, yeah, I'm in college. I work full time, but what's up? I lived in a house with 16 girls. I was like, yeah, I can get you my 16 roommates. Come by. They were like, whoa.
16?
Yes.
16 girls. Was it a guy going over there?
It was a guy and his girlfriend.
Oh.
I had no clue what this was about, but I gathered up 16 people.
You knew money was involved and they needed people.
I recruited 16 people, and I was like, everybody come to the living room. We're having a presentation. I had no clue what it was about.
Did you get people to sign up?
I don't remember. I think a few of them did. Sure. That was I was 18.
The law of numbers. Yeah, if you talk to enough people, somebody's going to say yes.
So that was my first exposure to network marketing, and I was 18. I had just got into college. And that's how it all started. Then, I mean, as I got into college, obviously I got very busy. I don't know why. I just love to work. I've always had 2 jobs for no reason. I don't know why. That's just...
Because people are sick like that. It's for the record, it's Friday. I think like 8 o'clock already. So we chose to work because this is work too on a Friday night. So
I don't think it's work.
It's a way of life. I was watching, and I want to keep you on the network marketing point, but I was watching Alex Ramosi listening to a podcast today. And that he went on vacation last year, and that he was on vacation. He's like, yeah, this is not me. And make no mistake, I just came back from Dubai, and I enjoyed the shit out of it. So maybe not to that extent, but I understand kind of like the obsession that a lot of that every successful entrepreneur has, and most people don't understand. We just had a conversation here a day or two ago. One of our guys, like, what's your actual goal? And a lot of people don't even know what they want, you know. And I think that's one of the
true.
biggest issues with not just generations but society as a whole, especially in this country. That it's everybody thinks it's rainbows and butterflies, and then you get looked at weird, and that happens to you because why are you always working? Like you already do okay. Why do you need more? You're greedy. I mean, I'm not greedy. I rather do this than do anything else.
Yeah.
I know if that happens to you, or people look at you weird, especially being a lady, which I want to get to as well. Which is really impressive, by the way. But
I mean, I consider myself a workaholic, but as I've gotten older, I've learned how to like
segregate.
pause and like, okay, what does Carla need? Like, let's go work out. Let's sit down and have a meal and not touch your phone. Like,
which all of it kind of leads back to you being in the right space mentally.
Yeah.
For work. I'm telling you, like when you really sit down and look back at it, what you do is you learn not to bring yourself out. You know you need to disconnect, even if it's for 30 minutes, an hour, or go to the gym, whatever the case may be, because you are not effective if you're fried. That's what happens to me. At some point in working so many hours, if you are not effective the second half of the day, you know what I mean?
That's true.
All right, my bad. I just need to throw that in there because it reminded me, and and before I forgot. But back to network marketing. So you got into it just because you're a hustler, but you lasted 10 years. So you are a successful network marketer. Yes. And in a career field that, I don't know the stats, but like very similar to my field in insurance.
Not a lot of people make
92% of insurance agents fail for the first 12 months. I would imagine the numbers are in that ballpark.
Yeah.
What do you think was the difference for you to be able to last that long in a business that's so hard?
I mean, I, like most people, like we were talking about recruiting earlier, like everyone's allergic to recruiting, like, ew, like don't recruit me, you know? But when you learn that recruiting and sales and communication, effective communication is just a part of life, number one. And number two, any successful business, whether you are a network marketing company or you're a traditional business, you need to have all those things
100%.
And you need to know how to do them. So I got over myself and all my limiting beliefs. So I can't speak in front of people. I don't think they're going to buy. Which we all go through that, right? But that was when I started having my breakthroughs, when I just got over myself and I realized that the people that were around me that were having success were no different than me. They just woke up one day and said, I'm going to do this and I'm going to stop making excuses. And that's really what it is. And so when I started to do that, and of course, personal development, very important. That's, I think, the key to success in anything, whether it's traditional, non-traditional, whatever. So personal development, cliche, believing in yourself, like, because we are so hard on ourselves, we're our biggest enemy. 100%. And the moment that you're like, I'm doing this, you know, like the positive self-talk, we love to just negatively talk about ourselves all the time. And when you learn the power in like, even if you have to lie to yourself a little bit sometimes, you know, but it works. It works. 100%. So when I started doing that, I started seeing the shift in my income, and I'm someone, like I was telling you earlier, I'm very passionate about what I do. So once I really was like, all right, I'm doing this, like no BS, and I went all in, it's a combination of like the consistency, but also my passion, which I think shows in my work. And so once that started happening, people wanted to follow me and people wanted me to teach them and they wanted to be on my team. But it was never a thing where it was about ego or I wanted to be on the spotlight. I was a teacher, you know, and I really enjoy doing that. And I'm, you know, like you have the sheep and you have the pastor. I enjoy being a pastor because there's a lot of lost sheep, you know,
for sure.
And I was a sheep once upon a time. Now I'm a pastor. So when the little sheeps come, I'm like, okay, little sheep, let me help you. Let me show you. Let me teach you, you know. Nice. So that's why I think I had success. And I just really wanted it. Like I knew that a job wasn't for me. And I knew that going back to anything that resembled a job that would work for me. So it was like a do or die, like get it done or get out.
Have you had a job since being a teacher? Like a real...
I haven't had a job since not since I quit my job. No, I just... Yeah, in the beginning, people were like, oh, why do you do what you do? Like, why do you keep going? And to be honest with you, I was like, I don't want to go to a job. Like, I don't want to wake up early. I don't want to commute. I don't want to...
You'd be surprised how
miserable.
How that is like the biggest driver for like that, because the same here. Like if it all else failed, like you're going to carry me out in the stretcher out of this bitch because I'm not going back. There's no way.
Yeah.
I'd rather die. I mean, figuratively speaking, but that's kind of like the approach. So I completely know where you're coming from.
It's not even that. It's like, I don't know if this happened to you, but when I did have a job, I had already started network marketing. And that's when I was really like, had made the decision to go all in. And it got to a point where I would sit at my job and I was doing the math and I'm like, I'm wasting my time here. Like I could be making so much more money if I didn't have this job and I had the time. And it used to piss me off. I'm like, why am I here? You know?
And when you really break it down, like, why were you there? Like, normally there isn't a logical reason other than yourself, you putting the mental barrier or the blocks.
Yeah.
Because most people tie back to money, but like, it really isn't money.
When you know how to do sales, and if you've ever had a commission job and you actually compare a salary job to a commission or anything sales, it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. I just made a video about that the other day.
It doesn't
I
make
literally
any
just
sense.
made a video about that. It's like, you should tell your boss, take your salary, give me a cut or whatever, and again, he'll fire you because he doesn't want to.
Exactly.
Because the whole point is for him to hold you back with that salary.
Right.
All right. So 10 years, obviously you've been through a few things, but all of this, it's like you're still young, right? So it sounds like you've been at this for a long time, and you're like, and then you did you get into credit repair? Because that's kind of like obviously the next layer
after my company, my tutoring company, then I got into insurance. I did insurance for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. Then I was introduced into credit repair.
So you went at it, like you got everything.
I've done it all. Yeah. Then I got introduced to credit repair. Credit repair was through a network marketing platform.
Yeah.
But no, even this is one thing that I love about myself. Is like, even if I'm working with a company or whatever, I've always taken it upon myself to become a professional in what I do. So
100%.
People, they get involved with a company and they just rely on the company for everything, but they never take the time to actually study their craft. And so I was building this network marketing company, but I was studying credit repair on the side because everything was going good. But I was, you know what? One day I decided to do my own thing, whatever. I need to know what I'm doing. I started taking courses, I started doing seminars, teaching myself the things that I could. Eventually, I started paying like mentors, people to teach me how to do credit repair if I ever wanted to go solo. And then something happened with the company that I was involved with about almost 3 years ago. And then that's when I was like, all right, it's time.
Yeah, I'm all familiar with the company. I never worked with them, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think, I hate keep comparing us, but it's almost like you were in insurance, right? And it's almost like when you get into a vehicle, you sold a product or a service, really, a productized service that if you understand how the service works, you could just go and sell it yourself. Granted, there's a lot, it seems simple. It's not that simple.
It's not.
But with that approach, mentally, at least you start learning rather than just relying back on the company to do everything for you. And that's probably the biggest reason that I'm here today in insurance, the same thing. I had somebody feeding me, do it like this. And I'm like, well, that's cool. Let me just figure out if I wanted to do it alone, what would that, hypothetically look like? And that hypothetical became a reality. And then here we are, 5 years later. But okay, cool. So you got into credit repair through network marketing. You went on your own because the company, things happened. They went away. What is the biggest challenge of being in the credit repair business? That was my first question. What's the biggest challenge?
Unfortunately, the industry, I mean, it's true, but it's not true, right? It is saturated. And it's, in the beginning, the credit repair boom was 2018-ish, around there. And a lot of people got into the business because it is a profitable business. You make money.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I tell people that I've coached that want to start their own business, I ask them, why do you want to do this? I want to make money. Everybody wants to make money. When you're in the type of businesses that we do, yes, you want to make money, but you also have to keep the people in mind because it's about the people. If you're not actually providing them a service or a product that is beneficial for them, you're giving them crap.
You're not going to be in business for a long time.
Exactly. So I'm like, yeah, it's great. You want to make money, but what are you going to do to make sure that you're getting the right things done and that you're making sure that your client is getting what they need?
Absolutely.
So I feel like a lot of people got into the business. They went crazy, got a bunch of sales in, a lot of high ticket, and they forgot why they started.
Yeah, and they didn't do the job, basically.
Correct. So the biggest challenge for me over the years has been overcoming that. It's just I call them wounded soldiers.
Yeah, the stigma.
I call them wounded. My clients who are like, I've tried this 20 times. I've been robbed.
It doesn't work.
I call them the wounded soldiers. So I've dealt with a lot of wounded soldiers. And I understand because I've seen other people in the industry and I know them and whatever. And I'm just like, I'm sorry. Like,
how do you overcome that? Like, what do you tell them? What can you possibly tell the soldier?
I relate with them. I'm like, I hate those people too. And I tell them, I'm like, I'm sorry that they lied to you. Let me tell you what they probably have never told you. And I'm just honest. I tell them, I can't guarantee you results. It's not going to happen overnight. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I come with like that tough love approach. Yeah. And my clients are like, wow, no one's ever 100%. Told me that.
It's almost being so opposite to everything else that you just stand out. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
I feel like I almost give it to them so raw that like they don't want to work with me, and they're like, wow, this is amazing. How do I start? And I'm like, what?
I hate you. How do I pay? Yeah.
You just
it's kind of what you
honest.
need sometimes. 100%.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how I've overcome a lot of those people with trust issues is I'm just honest. And I don't lie to my clients. If it's a situation like a lot of people in credit repair, they come to you, they just have a lot of debt and they don't understand that debt is debt. Like, and I don't do debt consolidation. I do credit repair. And I explain that to them. There's other people in the industry that will take those people's money and say, yeah, just stop paying everything, charge it off. And then like, I feel like you understand what I'm saying. Absolutely. So I tell my clients the truth, honestly.
Yeah, and I think like, obviously you've been at it for what, 6 years now?
6 years.
Yeah, and you don't last that long in anything if you're just taking people's money. And yeah, that's exactly what happens. I mean, I'm a wounded soldier, technically. And I found out that the best way to keep your credit good once they fix it, to have good credit, is you got to pay your bills.
Of course.
Granted, if you have negative things that you've already done, that's when a professional comes in, and you probably could speak to that better than I can. But it's almost like that's kind of like the first thing that somebody should have told me when I was 22 years old, 23 years old with messed up credit, thinking that paying somebody was going to fix my credit. Not if I don't, especially like with the debt part. Like,
credit education.
So, literally financial literacy. It's
money education.
It's such a big gap, Carla, and not enough people are educating with the right intentions.
Correct.
Because everybody nowadays is trying to provide value online, but you could see it a mile away when you get on the call and they're selling something.
I cringe. Those online gurus. I'm like,
I cringe. I'm a bluff. Like, so when I started making, like, my life changed 22 to 23. I had an 800% year-over-year growth in revenue. Wow. I went from being like, just getting by okay to like making multiple 7 figures. And I'm like, great, now I get to do everything I've always wanted to do. So I started calling everybody's bluff. So if you came and you were this guru doing this thing, and I really wondered if you were real or not, I mean, what does it cost? 10 grand? I want to do it. And I'll tell you offline some of the people I paid, because you for sure know them. And
I'm sure I do.
It was all fluff. It was all the same things that they did for the $80 a month membership, where you just get on a monthly call, where you pay them 10 grand for the VIP stuff, and it's the same thing. And I'm not a negative Nancy, and listen, I didn't really take a loss there, because like you said earlier, you don't really lose, you get lessons, and I learned. But I realized really quickly that you have to be really careful what you listen to and what you consume online, because you have no idea, like, and I keep doing the same thing. I just came back from Vegas. I was at Alex Ramosi event, which I actually like, so I could say the same. And I paid for another mastermind. I'm going out to Austin in June, and I'm constantly spending my money trying to get into these rooms to learn. And half the time, I won't say that I'm disappointed, but it's not what I expect.
Right.
But then you also get better at vetting them as you go through this, right? Like, it's not that easy for me to spend 10 grand now on something, because I could kind of tell already, like, are you full of shit or not, Yeah. But yeah, too many people, and then it's sad because they're taking advantage of the masses, and they're making a killing. Actually,
they are.
So I don't respect what they do in the sense of like you're kind of misleading people, but I respect the work it took to get there, because for you to be in a position to mislead people, they had to put in a lot of work into building a brand. And I just wish they used it in a way where it's not misleading, because they could make so much more money if they just did shit the right way. But whatever. Yeah, that's just my opinion on the subject.
Have a whole episode on a cringe session with all these people, because it's bad.
All right. So I kept stalking you, and I'm telling you, I had to do my research, and I did this like the last 30 minutes before you got here, by the way, because I am a procrastinator by nature. So you've been featured on some good articles. That's awesome. Good for you.
A long time ago, but yeah.
It's still there. Once it's in the internet, it's there forever.
You're right.
I actually got featured in Yahoo Finance as well. I just I didn't get to Forbes like you did, so good for you. My questions for this last part of the conversation, Carla, are towards the future. Okay. So you don't have to tell me that you're not done, because I can just tell by the type of person that you are that you're not done. I don't know if you even know yet, because you're still young, what you want to do next. But do you have an idea of like what 5 years from now Carla looks like? And if so, what would that be?
So 5 years from now, I've been saying this for a long time, and I've procrastinated on this too. I have so much knowledge in my brain, like so much, like infinite. And there's so many people that I know want to learn from me. And when you're doing mentorships and things like that, there's only so many people that you can coach one-on-one. And I love the one-on-one aspect, because I want you to sit here. We're going to get a little plug, and I'm going to download my whole brain. But you know, when you're thinking about sales and you're thinking about growth in your business and just mass sharing information, you have to sit down and you have to put everything that you know, or as much as you know, in a box.
Okay.
So that you're able to sell that as a form of education,
yeah,
right? So the last few years of my life and my business, I've worked so much on almost going out of business, getting back in business. It's so many things that happened to me that, you know, really kind of put you back. But at the same time, maybe those things had to happen so you could start over and do things the right way without certain people being involved. So that happened to me with other businesses that I had as well.
Okay.
But I think moving forward, what I need to focus on, which I've already started doing, and I was sharing with you guys earlier, I've taken a very long break from, it was like a huge breakup once I left my network marketing company because I had been doing network marketing for so long.
You were burnt, like I said, or fried.
Yeah.
Basically.
So I wanted nothing to do with anyone. I didn't want to be on camera. I didn't want to make any content. And I've pretty much been gone from the camera for about 3 years. And so this year I decided that I've had enough time, you know.
It's time to get back.
Yeah, so I feel refreshed. I don't have that feeling anymore, and so my focus for the next 5 years is to really focus on building what I've always wanted to do, which is, and I know everyone wants to do courses and things like that, but long term, what I want to start doing is like traveling to host these things live and things like that, which is what I used to do for all these companies.
Right.
So now I feel like it's time that I do that for
yourself,
for me. You know, and in that, I want to empower single mothers. I've helped a lot of single mothers in my network marketing career start their business, make money, buy houses, do so many things. And I know that I can do that in a large scale. So I want to put together a team of other professional individuals like myself, where that's our mission. You know, maybe we can focus on women. Maybe it doesn't have to be women, but just that, like, what do we have to offer? What are we going to teach them? Package it up. And with my background with education, I'm big on curriculums. I'm big on tests. Like it's going to be so structured that that's really what I plan on doing in the next 5 years. And then my credit repair company, probably sell it. I'm kind of, you know, I've been doing it long enough. It has its value. I've set things up, and I think I'm kind of ready to move on from that.
That's awesome.
So just kind of preparing myself for that transition as well, because I've been doing this for a long time. I have
a lot of friends in the M&A space, and they watched us, so you became their lead, just so you know. But...
so yeah, I just need to focus on that, so that way I can get back to what I love, which is teaching people
100%.
And being in front of people and sharing my story and showing them that you think that I'm smarter than you and you think that I'm better than you, but I'm not. I just didn't quit, and that's why I'm still here. And so that's what I really want to do. Focus on that.
Educating. It's beautiful.
That's and if you study every successful person in Grant Cardone, everyone that we follow, right? They've done everything, and what do they do now?
Educate.
Exactly.
They get value.
Exactly.
100%. And it opens up a lot of doors for you personally, and obviously you get to do. There's nothing more powerful than you changing people's lives.
Right.
And a lot of times you have more of an impact than you think. And it took a while for me to realize that. And I love what your answer was, because most people don't actually have an answer when I ask that question, by the way. Yeah, a lot of them are like, well, you know, and then it kind of just goes into like kind of their hopes and dreams, but not this well.
The thing is,
you seem like you're sure, and like, you know.
I've always known, but I feel like when I tried doing it, maybe it wasn't the time.
It's got to be the right season.
Maybe I didn't have enough wisdom. Maybe
the right season.
God knows I didn't know, but I feel like.
Do you feel like the game slowed down a little bit? Like, is that fair to say?
Which game? Credit repair?
Like the business, your life, like your business world. Like it's kind of like slower, like not slow down, like business slow down, but like you know when you're starting something, you're just like 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And then eventually you get so good at it that it just starts becoming second nature to you, and like nothing really trips you out anymore. And like, well, I played sports growing up. Like, you know, when you go from one level to the next. In the beginning, it's like 1,000,000 miles an hour, and then after a while, you kind of like find your footing, and you're like, okay, I could do this. You feel like you're there, where like.
Yeah, I felt that. Part of the reason too is because I'm just fast at everything. I drive fast, I talk fast, I move fast, and I learned that as you get older, there's nothing wrong with speed, but you kind of have to bring it down a little bit, because sometimes you're moving so fast, and I don't know if this happens to you, but you're moving so fast, you're running your business, you're like a robot. And for a very long period of time, I was just like robot. And then you don't take time to think about, what do I really want? What's next for me? You know, is there something that I need to deal with in my life personally to get to that next? But you don't know that, because you're 100%. Always going 1,000. 100%. So as I've gotten older, And even my parents and everything, they're like, slow down. And I'm like, why? And now I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, it's what got you to this level is not going to get you to the next level.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way I could put it. And, I'm a big believer in like go really fast and break everything in your way and see what works. And that works to a certain extent. But then, that's good to bring it off the ground. But once you need to really scale it, and it doesn't need to be a specific business, just your life as a whole.
Yeah.
That's when you kind of got to take a step back every once in a while and just look at it at a macro level. Like, okay, like you're doing good here, you're doing good here. Why are you not doing this here?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I've gone through this so many times. You have no idea. My life is like, my mind is like a constant spiral. I'm talking to a camera like a maniac on my way home every night. But that's exactly the exercise. The point of exercise is to slow down and to be able to look at it from a macro level, because that's what it took for me to get in my ass in the gym. I've dropped 45 pounds in the last year,
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. But and there was nothing stopping me other than myself. Just a constant, I'm always working. I'd rather work, because if I don't work, BS, you know? But you start unlocking levels. And I think you could provide a lot of value. So, and I think I could help you provide value. So talk offline after. Can't help it. And I think you should consider insurance. I'll say I got on camera. Because you just described what we do for a living. I know you understand the business, and things might be slightly different than they were 6 years ago, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
Last question, Karla, before we wrap up here. If you could go back to 18-year-old, she's homesick at Florida State, and you could give one advice to that 18-year-old Karla.
One advice? That's not enough.
Well, you get one.
Wow.
It's not a wish. It's an advice. You only got one. One advice that you would give Karla.
One. My 18-year-old self. To just chill. Everything's going to be okay. Because for like a good chunk of my life, I was always so stressed about this needs to go this way. And like my life, I had it planned out a certain way. Like what the year I was going to get married, how, like everything. And as I started to get older, I realized that is like not how life works. But I would like stress out and I'd be like, oh, this didn't work out like this. And so now I'm so like, it's not that I don't care, but I'm just like, whatever, move on. Yeah. So if I could have channeled that when I was 18, I would have been like 1,000 steps ahead. But I was always so concerned about my plan didn't go as planned, and now I'm stressed out, and I would get upset and I would get angry, and it's just like learning how to manage your emotions, but also knowing that everything's gonna be okay, and the reason why things don't happen when you want them to happen is for a reason. But when I was 18, I didn't understand that, and I would just get frustrated about it. So it's an
awesome answer. Listen, Karla, you're the second lady we have on the podcast, so I'm asking for one last favor. Actually, I said that was the last thing, but I have one more favor.
Okay.
I know you work with women and other women you've empowered. Name more women on the podcast. I think you ladies have great stories to share. You ladies are very resilient. And you don't have to give me the answer right now, but...
Oh, I already have her.
Perfect. Because I need to get some ladies on the podcast because...
She's amazing.
Awesome. So we'd love to have her. Yeah.
She is amazing. And that one's going to be in Spanish. I don't know if you do Spanish.
I did one in Spanish last week, so I can whip another one out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm going to let her say her story, but she's amazing.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on, Karla. We really appreciate you taking the time on a Friday night, and can't wait to see the final product because you said a lot of good things that are going to resonate. Awesome.